I love the fact that all stitches can have changes for their width and their length. So when you pick a stitch, depending on the fabric you pick in the Sewing Advisor, the stitch length will start at maybe 2, 2.5, or stitch length of 3. So this is the stitch length. So when I pick a stitch, for example, a zigzag, you'll notice that its length is 4. Now, when you get going with these, you're going to notice that 4 is the length that it takes to get to the start of the next zigzag. So it's actually going to be 2 millimeters this way and 2 millimeters this way for a total of 4. When you start to change it, you're going to notice that your numbers turn red. Red means that you've taken it off the default setting. So you can make it really long, and you can change this while you're sewing. So it's really nice. You can get it to be just right just by touching it and looking at it while you're sewing it out. Now the quickest way to clear this out is to reselect the same stitch on your screen. So instead of me going minus minus, I can touch stitch 11 and it will return me back to the solid color of black for that number and make it go back to where the default setting is. Now another thing you can do for length is also then change the width. So your machine can go up to a total of 7 millimeters wide for all these stitches, and you can change both length and width together. I have noticed that this screen here is actual size. So if you wanted to make sure that that was about what, that's what you're going to get. So that's how big it's going to be. So it's nice to know what you're going to get before. If you're more visual, this screen is definitely for you. So once again, returning it back or clearing it. So, and also let's go to a different stitch just for fun. We'll just randomly pick a stitch. How about like a feather stitch here? This is from the quilt stitches. Once again, 9 millimeters is how long it takes to repeat this stitch. And so we can go ahead and make it longer. It is already at the widest, so the only change we'd be able to do would actually be to make it narrower. Well, I'm always like, bold is better, so we'll leave it at the width. Now keep in mind that some of these stitches, let me get to some of the really big ones here in the K menu. When you pick these stitches, you're going to notice the stitch itself is wider than the foot, and it has you change to foot S. S is that really big foot in your accessory box, so it's bigger than your standard A foot. So with that bigger, and then the stitch is bigger than that foot, you're going to notice it's 23 millimeters wide. So once again, that is the widest, so you can narrow it down. And then it also gives you the length, that it is 27 millimeters long from pattern begin to the end of the pattern. So if you're planning out how many you need within an area, that is how you're going to gauge for your stitch length. You can make it a little longer. It does spread those out, but you have that chance as well. Whoa, those get really big. 36 millimeters long and 23 millimeters wide. So that is awesome. Now, if you're not familiar with millimeters, if you look right down along the bottom part of your machine, there is an inches to millimeter to metric kind of conversion down here, and you can kind of take a peek and get an idea of how big that actually is going to be. So once again, if you want to get back to a regular stitch, your stitch length and width can be changed at any time.